Hey guys, welcome back to GTA Speedy. Today we'll talk about how to avoid any glitches in Cyberpunk 2077. Let's head into it. Cyberpunk glitches. Considering it's one of the biggest selling games of the year, Cyberpunk 2077 is a mess. It might run well on your PC if you have good enough specs, but there is still plenty of game-breaking bugs to deal with. One of the worst can corrupt your save file without warning, lead to hours of lost gameplay. According to many posts of Cyberpunk 2077 subreddit, GOG technical support, and the Steam community page, if your save file gets larger than 8 megabytes, Cyberpunk 2077 will refuse to load it. This corrupts the save file irreparably, which could be devastating to your in-game progress if you don't have a backup file. Whereas developer CD Projekt Red apparently knew about this but didn't think to warn players until now. The company responded to several complaints, saying the limitation is on purpose, but it might increase the supported file size in future patches. Unfortunately, already corrupted saves cannot be recovered. That means until the potential patch shows up, ruining your saved game is a constant possibility if the file becomes too big. However, you should be able to avoid this with a few modifications to your gameplay. Example for glitches are: Number 3. People falling through the floor. Clipping through walls upon death is one thing, but NPCs and enemies have other ways of surprising you during gameplay. In one instance, while simply walking through an apartment building, an NPC fell through the floor right in front of V's eyes. It was honestly kind of dramatic, like something out of a ghost story. You swear up and down you saw it, but nobody believes you because it seems so ridiculous. Number 2. Car pop-up in the distance. Developers do plenty of things to add detail without stressing out the hardware. Some of these shortcuts reveal themselves in embarrassing ways. While driving along the desert, we spotted a bunch of cars in the distance continually disappearing and reappearing. On PS5, pop-up is almost a non-issue, so seeing this certainly felt surprising and out of place. The problem does not seem to show up at all when in Night City's metropolitan area. Number 1. Spawning inside someone. A save point once had us as a passenger in a car. Upon reloading the save after death, we were not in the passenger seat, but instead in the driver's seat as the NPC was still sitting there, driving. The characters continued to talk, and the supporting character's hands were visible on the steering wheel, and her hair was dangling in front of V's face. It did not affect anything after exiting the car, thankfully. Here is a list of things you can do to avoid the glitches. Number 3. Craft and loot sparingly. Don't dupe items. Excessively crafting weapons or storing too many collectibles in your character's inventory appear to be the most reliable ways to inflate your save file. Considering Cyberpunk 2077 is an open-world RPG that actively encourages you to loot everything, you'd think CD Projekt Red would warn players that having too many items could corrupt their save, but I digress. Players can avoid this unfortunate occurrence by only looting what they need and carrying or crafting as few items as possible. You should avoid them using item duplication glitches to cheat your way through Cyberpunk 2077. Sure, it might seem like an easy shortcut to securing the best cars and equipment, but you're risking a full-on save corruption by abusing the glitch. Number 2. Keep an eye on total playtime. Limiting your urge to steal and duplicate everything you come across in Night City will reduce the risk of a corrupt save, but your file will slowly get bigger as you play, regardless of your playstyle. At some point, it could get too big. Unfortunately, it's difficult to estimate how much data each in-game hour adds to a Cyberpunk 2077 save file. Browse through the CD Projekt Red forums and you'll find users who encountered the bug after playing from 70 to 100 hours, and others just 25 to 40 hours. That disparity makes it difficult to recommend a total playtime limit. Still, it's important to know every moment you spend in-game adds to your save file's size, so make that time count. Number 1. Always have a backup save. Additionally, until we know for sure how much every item you pick up or minute of gameplay adds to your save file, it's hard to give you specific figures. A dedicated group of Cyberpunk 2077 players has been crunching the numbers and tracking every kilobyte so others can avoid losing their save files. But save corruption will be an ever-present possibility until CD Projekt Red fixes this bug. Even if they do, and that's a big if, some users have experienced the bug even when their save game file is smaller than 8 megabytes, suggesting there could be other causes as well. Therefore, the only real solution is to back up your Cyberpunk 2077 saves often so you can restore your progress if you accidentally play the game too much. This brings us to the end of our video. I hope you enjoyed it. Hit like if you did, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any of our videos in the future. Also, watch the 2 videos that are on your screen because I'm sure you'll love them. With that, I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.